Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome to another live stream. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Appreciate it is obviously Man City, Real Madrid in the Champions League, so not expecting too many people to be locked in tonight. But here we are. Plenty to discuss, as always, with Chelsea. We've got the latest comments from Joao Felix saying that he would like to stay at Milan if it's possible. We're going to be discussing Enzo Maresca, how he can still salvage the season. The season is very much not over, despite a lot of the doom and gloom that is surrounding the club at this point in time. But it's rescuable. There are a few things that can be done to remedy this. It's not easy, but it's not all doom and gloom. We can get the season back on track, and we can still achieve what we set out to achieve at the start of the season, which was to bag the Conference League and finish in the top four. But if we're going to do those two things, then people need to start stepping up, and people need to start taking serious accountability for the shit that's going on. And a few things need to change, and that includes the manager perhaps being a little bit more versatile and a little bit more forthcoming in being able to change his tactics. I think we're getting to the point now where we need to see an Nkunku in the 10. We need to see a Cole Palmer on the right-hand side. At the moment, on that left-hand side, we're rotating Tyreek, George and Jadon Sancho. And on the right, we're rotating Pedro Neto and Madueke. You've got Nkunku. He's not a number 9. You need to use this player, get the best out of him for the remainder of the season, because he will help us finish in the top 4 if utilised correctly. At the moment, he's not being utilised correctly. At the moment, he's being played out of position. At the moment, playing currently how he is in this team, he's utterly useless. Utterly useless. So we're essentially, with Nkunku as a 9, you're essentially playing with 10 men. And that can't continue. That cannot continue. This is where we need Maresca to sort of use his management skills, use his tactical ability. And he needs to change things, because at the moment, we're not playing well. We're 2 wins in 8 in the Premier League. We're 2 wins in 9 in all competitions. What we're doing is not working right now. And that's not just going to suddenly magically fix itself. We need to try a few different things. So if that means Palmer on the right and Nkunku in the 10 behind Jackson, let's do it. If that means, that means stop inverting the fullback and have overlapping fullbacks down the left and right-hand side, let's give it a go. Yes, the inverted role very much suits Marc Cucurella, absolutely. But it doesn't suit Malo Gusto when he goes into a back 3, and it doesn't really suit Reece James in a back 3 in possession. James and Gusto, great going forward, great putting balls into the box. How many times this season have we seen James and Gusto get forward and whip balls into the box or offer an attacking threat? Very, very limited occasions. Very limited occasions, because when Cucurella inverts and it becomes a back 3 in possession, that right-hand side is void, basically. You've got no one overlapping. Yes, Cucurella picks up space in the attacking third, but there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. And we're eliminating a big threat down that right-hand side with James and Gusto. Look, by the way, Cucurella is not useless going forward. He can get forward reasonably well. And the inverting fullbacks thing and the fullbacks not pushing on, maybe that's a change that we can make. Maybe that is a change that we can make. And I would be all for making that change. I would be all for seeing that change, because at the end of the day, there's got to be some sort of flexibility here. I get it. You want to stick to a system. You want to stick to a style of play. And that's fine, generally speaking. But when that's not working, maybe you need to take a step back and step away from it and try some alternatives just to shake things up and just to try get something different out of these players. It's worrying how there's been such a collective drop-off from the start of the season to now. And this same group of players, now we're getting nothing from them. But about 6 weeks ago, we were playing some of the best football in the league. So what I don't quite understand is how this has changed so quickly and how things have gone south so quickly. It's mad. Look, you expect players to drop off and have dips in form throughout the season. You expect teams to have dips in form throughout the season. Absolutely. But you expect maybe 1 or 2 players, 3 players to go for a bit of a dip in form at the same time. The entire team have all dropped their levels pretty much. I mean, look, Caicedo's still doing his thing and whatnot. Fair play to him. But generally speaking, the entire team, their levels have dropped significantly since the beginning of the season and since 6 weeks ago when we were winning 5 games on the bounce and we had a chance to go top of the league. What I can't get my head around is why that drop-off has happened and why that drop-off's been so significant and why Enzo Maresca doesn't look like he's got any idea how to rectify it. He looks like he's got no idea how to rectify it. And this is what he's paid the money to do. This is his job. And he's got to come up with the solutions. Now, what those solutions are, for me personally, one of them, which we've already mentioned, is Nkunku in the 10, Palmer to the right. And the other main one has got to be stop inverting the fullbacks and let's have attacking outlets down both sides, so that there's an option for the winger to pass to the fullback on the overlap. There's an opportunity to create an overload on either side, so we don't have wingers that are constantly recycling possession every time they get into a dangerous position. That's all we're doing now. We're having loads of possession and we're doing absolutely nothing with it. That penetration in the final third is shocking, absolutely shocking. We had a lot of the ball against Brighton. What do we do with it? 0. We had 1 shot on target in that game. 1 shot on target. And look, I get it. This is the way that maybe the modern day manager is going. But I'm not asking for a complete change of play style and to rip up everything we've been doing. I'm just asking for a few adjustments, a few changes here and there to try and get something different out of this team, to try and spark some life back into this side. Because right now, it's shite. It is complete and utter shite. And everyone kind of seems okay with it. Everyone seems to be okay with it. There seems to be just a mentality that's seeping through this football club now of mediocrity. That, the manager's just brushing off cup exits like they don't matter. There's no accountability from anyone in any position of seniority at the football club. We're just allowing things to drift. There's no winning mentality. The winning culture that we did have at the football club is fastly being eroded. And there are real concerns looking forward. And despite that, we still find ourselves 4th in the league. But I don't think many of us are confident of getting much out of the next 2 games. Brighton away, followed by Aston Villa away. Are we confident of getting anything out of these games? I don't think we are. Look, I'm not saying we can't get anything out of those games. We could, but have we got the confidence that we can go to these 2 grounds, difficult places to go, and show anything different from anything different from what we've already been seeing? I don't think we can sit there and say that. I do not think we can sit there and say that. And that in itself is a big worry for me, a big worry. But what are you lot saying in the chat? Yes, hello, and stop it with yeah, I hear it. Absolutely agree. I mean, look, I don't mind an inverted fullback every so often, but I don't think we need to be seeing it every single game because it takes away from what our right backs are really good at, which is bombing up and down the pitch and putting good balls into the box. Palmer is negated and we're playing slower with repeated dead-end wing play. Yeah, the attacks are so predictable. You know exactly what we're going to do. The ball's going to get to the winger. They're going to have to do a few quick touches, a couple of little shimmies here and there, not take their man on, and just recycle possession. It's so easy and it's so predictable. We have become really toothless in attack. We have become so toothless in attack. It's really concerning. Really, really concerning how toothless that we've become in attack. So how that gets fixed, I don't know. Obviously, Nicholas Jackson, hopefully back for the game on Friday. That will make some sort of a difference. At least we'll have a bit of a focal point out front. At least we'll have someone running in behind, pressing from the front. Should be a bit more involved. But ultimately, even sticking Jackson back into the team, right? How much is that changing in terms of our overall play? I'm not sure it's changing very much, guys. I have to be honest, because even with Jackson in the team, we're still 2 wins from our last 8 Premier League matches anyway. He's not scored in 2025. So whilst obviously it's worse having Nkunku up front, I don't think having Jackson up front back in the team is suddenly going to turn us from playing like shit to playing well and getting us the results. I personally don't see that. I personally do not see that. So it's worrying. We need more from the midfield. We need better play at the back, and we need the wingers to actually start doing something. Jadon Sancho's form has dipped massively. Pedro Neto has not had a particularly great season. Madueke is a bit hit and miss at the moment. And those are the 3 wingers that we've got. Obviously, Mudrik's banned, and Joao Felix, who could play there if needed, has been shipped off to AC Milan, and no replacement was signed. So we're looking at a situation where your options on the left-hand side are Sancho and a young Tyreek George. What really is that doing for us? What is that doing for us? And everybody being so horribly out of form at the same time is not good. It really isn't good. And, I think I did a video yesterday explaining, how, 3 things that Maresca could do to help this. Obviously been through a couple, but we've got to find a way of getting more out of the wingers. What has happened to our wide players, guys? What has happened to the wide players, and what has happened to the mentality at this football club? Because the mentality is in the bin right now, it feels like. The mentality is in the bin. I don't get it. I don't get it. The mentality in the bin, and no one seems to care. No leaders. No leaders whatsoever in this team. None. Yeah, you say we've got goals up front, right? Where are the goals? Because if you look at our top scorers this season, right, it's Palmer with 14 in the league. Then it's Jackson on 9, Madueke on 7. Then it's Enzo with 3 and Sancho and Pedro Neto with 2 apiece. We're in the middle of February. We have got 1 player in double digits for goals in the league. That's no good for a top team. That's no good for a top team. Only 1 player has scored more than 10 goals in the Premier League this season for us. It's been 24 games. Now, I'm not saying I expect 10 goals from all the wingers. I expect, I'm not saying that. But 2 goals from Sancho and Neto apiece. That's not good enough. That is not good enough at all. And these are the things that are causing us problems, guys. Guys were contributing earlier in the season, but they're now not. Defensively, we're still making mistakes. Goalkeeper, not good enough. Let's wait and see what Jorgensen can do. But, massive gap between Chalobah and Tosin for the Brighton equaliser from Ruta on Friday night. Why? And that stems down to a lack of leadership, a lack of communication. And that also has to come from the manager as well. So Marcel Maresca is not solely to blame. He's part of the issue, but he's also a massive part of what the solution can be as well. a huge part of what the solution can be. But do I trust him to make changes? Do I trust him to deviate away from what he wants to do and how he wants to play? Do I trust him to make the right decisions? I don't know. That trust is slowly eroding a little bit, in my opinion. Now, when we had, the confident speaking with honesty earlier in the season, now that we know in presses, he's just barefaced lying. Nkunku's not, the plan wasn't to keep Nkunku here. You did want a striker. You weren't happy with the window. You were fully behind the Joao Felix signing. No, you weren't. It's just lie after lie after lie in presses now of Maresca. And look, I like the gaffer. He's by far the biggest issue at this football club. But he's starting to do things where I'm like, I'm a bit concerned here. There's a similar thing emerging at Leicester, at Chelsea now. He had a brilliant start to the season, had a big gap, and that got eroded away over the second half of the season. And at least they went up as champions, but they almost went into the playoffs. It was so close. The same with us. We started the season really well. We were second at one point. We had a chance to go top of the league momentarily. And now we've had a big drop-off, a big dip in form, and there are hallmarks and similarities to what Leicester went through. Now, yes, we're still 2 points ahead of Newcastle and City, but 2 points is nothing. At one stage this season, we were 12 points ahead of Newcastle. And now most people probably fancy Newcastle to finish ahead of us this season. So this is how quickly things can change. You're winning games one week, and then in the next week, then before you know it, you can't really see where your next win is coming from. That in itself is a big issue, a big issue, guys, and one that I don't know how we sort it out. I don't know how we sort this out. We've all played football. You can score goals, but more importantly, a good defense and keeper wins matches. Yeah, sure. I mean, well, goals win games, but yeah, obviously you've got to keep them out at the other end as well. We need a collective team effort, and ultimately, all across the football pitch right now, we're not good enough. We're not good enough across the board right now, from top to bottom, from ownership to directors to manager to players. All parties not good enough. Simple as that. That's what it boils down to, guys, at the end of the day. All parties not good enough. And when you've collectively across the board got no winners on the pitch, inexperience in the dugout, inexperience in the sporting director positions, inexperience in the ownership, there's inexperience from top to bottom, a lack of winning mentality, a lack of winning culture amongst everyone. And we're surprised to see the club heading in the direction that it's heading in. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise at all. No one's accepting this, but this is the reality right now. And we've got to demand more to get back to where we should be. The problem is that we don't know how long that's going to take. We don't know how long that's going to take. We don't know how long that's going to take. So it's one of those where you're just going to have to strap in for the ride. You're going to have to strap in for the ride. And we're going to have to see where it takes us. I don't think we know whether he's the man or not. I don't think we know if he's the man. That's the reality. We don't know. Right now, he's obviously not particularly looking like it, but we don't know for sure whether he is or not. The guy had one season at Leicester where he won the title, but that's about the long and the short of his We don't know. We don't know. He hasn't got enough. That's about the long and the short of his experience. One season at Leicester, pretty much. Yes, he was at Parma for a brief spell, and he obviously been a coach at City, and then part of Pep Guardiola's coaching staff in the year that they won the treble and whatnot. I get that, but we're looking at very limited experience. We don't know. We don't know how good he is. We have absolutely no idea. So I can't sit here and say he's not the man, but I also can't sit here and say that he is, because we've not seen enough evidence. We haven't seen enough evidence to suggest whether he is or isn't the man. And only time will tell. And we need to give him that time, and we need to stick by him, because making another managerial change is not going to do us any favours at all. Any favours at all. Yet Man City won up Erling Haaland. Yeah, no, we do miss Fofana. We miss Fofana. We miss Lavia. You know, there are players we're missing, but the players that were out on the pitch the other night were more than good enough to get a result. And they simply did not step up. Did not step up. Yes, big up, brother. Yeah, well, we're not going to do that. Yeah, the fullbacks need to overlap. They need to overlap. Look, I'm not asked about keeping Felix. My issue is why no one came in to replace him. You don't make that decision with no one else coming in. You don't take that decision to just sack off an option and make yourself weaker. You don't do that. Why are you doing that? You know, when was that? Not good. Not good at all, guys. You know, the decisions made don't make sense. What team competing for Champions League football, and it's a difficult race for Champions League football this year, takes the decision to make their squad weaker for the second half of the season? I don't get it. And no accountability once again. No accountability at all. Say Maresca is another assistant coach who got wrongly promoted to manager. No, I think that's a bit harsh. We do miss Lavia in midfield. I don't know. I don't know. But Haaland is obviously, he's clinical. One chance, bang, goal. That's what he does. That's what he does. You know, that's what he does. Chelsea finished top 4 and directors continue. This is the thing, right? We all want to finish in the Champions League, right? But can we actually trust these directors and this recruitment team when we get into the Champions League to go and add Champions League quality to our squad? No. I can't sit here and say I've got any confidence at all that the people in charge of signing players will actually go and add Champions League quality to our squad in the summer if we qualify this season. And that in itself is a major problem. Imagine you know, imagine if we were in the Champions League this season with this squad. We'd be absolutely done. We'd be absolutely finished. Imagine if we were in the Champions League now with this squad. This squad is not capable of competing in the Champions League right now. It's not capable. And so whilst hopefully we get there this season, does anyone have any faith that we would add the relevant reinforcements over the second half, like in the summer, so that we can compete in the Champions League? Can we really do that? I don't believe that we can. I do not believe that we can. at the end of the day? I don't believe we can. And that is the honest answer. I just don't back these guys at all. You know, I just I just don't have the faith at all that we're going to do that. No faith, no faith at all. I mean, to be fair, Bowley is a minority shareholder in the club. You know, there's money there. There's money there. It's just we're choosing not. Look, this is it at the end of the day. Like, what are our priorities? You knew full well that Osimhen was never going to lower his wages, yet we just wasted a whole summer pursuing him. This is what I don't understand. You do shit like that, and then and I don't know if we ever had any intentions of signing Osimhen. I really starting to question that whether we did, whether we were just there for an opportunity, because we waited and waited and waited because we thought that he would lower his wage demands and join the club because he wouldn't want to stay at Napoli. Instead, he fucked off to Turkey. So we're not interested in doing anything unless it's a decent opportunity. Unless it's a decent opportunity, we don't care. No, it's not time to move on. But what does need to be done is that we need to sign first team quality replacements for them, because at the end of the day, we can't rely on these guys. We cannot rely on those guys. So when they're available, fine, great. But most of the time they're not available. So you need to have ready-made alternatives to get it done. You need ready-made alternatives. So we got to view these players as luxury players. I wouldn't be selling either of those two in the summer. Definitely not. I don't think we will. I said at the start of the season, I felt that we would. Now, having seen the form that we're in, having seen what we did in the January window, and having seen how competitors for the top four strengthened, my opinion's changed. We're not finishing in the top four now, in my view, because of what's happened in this window. We were linked with Douglas Luiz. We inquired. Juve wanted a large loan fee and an obligation to buy. We didn't want that, so we walked away from the negotiations. I don't know if he's done, but obviously, look, they're still very young, these players, but clearly these constant injury issues are a big problem. You know, they are a problem. They are a problem, but you know, you believe in them because of the talent and how good they actually are. But not how good you are is kind of negated by how little your availability is. But I still have faith in those guys. They're young, but what we do need to do is view these guys as luxury players. And when they're available, great. But when they're not, we've got quality that can come in and start ahead of them, and there's not a significant drop off. That's the position that we need to get in. I've got absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. I don't know how you hire someone and then that's suddenly is gonna suddenly instill a winning culture. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't understand. Doesn't make much sense, does it? Doesn't make much sense. It's an interesting one, isn't it? But again, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Yeah, I think we're going to end up fifth. I really do. Which is not. Which, if it's Champions League, great. Yeah, look, if I don't want to be finishing fifth, but if fifth gets us Champions League, all I'm bothered about this season is us getting back in the Champions League and winning the Conference League. So if fifth place gets Champions League, we finish fifth, we take it. We take it and we move. We just had the chance in the last summer. Yeah, we could have done. Yeah, he's not going to ruin his career. No, he made his choice at the end of the day. I don't think he's ruining his career. No, we've only got ourselves to blame. We could have signed him for £40 million in the summer. We chose not to. Who do you think is going to win FA Cup? I think Aston Villa have got a very good chance. But again, it's draw dependent. It's draw dependent. But I would have to say that, yeah, Aston Villa have got a very, very good opportunity to end their wait for silverware. A very good opportunity to end their wait for silverware. But again, it's a lot's going to depend on the draw. You couldn't look away from United potentially scamming their way to a win. They just seem to find a way in these competitions to somehow just get a win. I don't know how they do it. No, it won't be, which is why we'd have to strengthen over the summer big time and add experience and know-how and whatnot. But I don't I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe not this summer. Maybe not this summer, but certainly, yeah, players will start thinking about it. If we miss out again, players will absolutely start thinking about moving on. That is an unescapable fact that we cannot get away from, guys, is that the longer we're out of the Champions League, the more chances there are of increasing the more chances there are of players asking to leave. When they when they signed, that wasn't the pitch. Oh, by the way, we're going to be out of the Champions League for 3 years. No, it wasn't. The pitch would have been, we're going to be back in the Champions League ASAP. Players, a career is very short. The best players want to play in the Champions League. If we cannot provide that, or it doesn't look like we're going to be able to provide that, then players will rightly want to move on. They will rightly want to move on. So that is definitely a concern. Definitely a concern we've got going forward, 100%, which is why this Champions League is so crucial. So crucial. You know, that's the reality. We need to strengthen. Yeah, we do need to strengthen. Absolutely, absolutely. But look, the summer's a while away now. That's kind of irrelevant. Let's go through a couple bits of news. That have been doing the rounds. There's a couple bits from a Fabrizio Romano YouTube video that have dropped dropped about 10 minutes ago. Let's go through that. Yeah, I'll take Marquinhos at Chelsea, absolutely, but it's irrelevant because we're not getting him. Excuse me. Chelsea are still very happy with Sancho. The obligation to buy is not in doubt. It will just be the add-ons that will change depending on where Chelsea finishes in the table. He will become theirs. No expectation of change, and Chelsea are satisfied. Now, we touched on Sancho earlier. Yeah, it's a good opportunity in the market. 22 to 25 million pounds, I believe, will be the final price depending on where we finish. Yeah, look, for a player with his qualities, it's a very good deal. But again, his form, massive nosedive, guys. A huge nosedive in form for Jadon Sancho. But look, I think Chelsea on the whole are reasonably happy with him. So yeah, there we are. Yeah, you expect more. You were expecting more from Sancho, but he's only been here 6 months, so you do give him a slight benefit of the doubt. You do give him a slight benefit of the doubt, guys, for sure. By the way, how many likes are we on? Someone let me know how many likes we're on, and yeah, please keep smashing the like button, and of course, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you are new round here. That would be greatly appreciated, guys. But yeah, someone let me know how many likes we're on. Make sure you're running those likes up, guys. But yeah, Chelsea happy with Sancho. That's kind of what you'd expect. But yeah, we need more. We need more. And in terms of, I mean, I think yesterday it was announced that we had, we'd signed. Chelsea are always working on future talents. They believe this 16-year-old striker who they signed, Dastan Satpayev, has special skills. They beat a German club that offered more and got him for 3.3 million with add-ons included. So this is this 16-year-old kid from Kazakhstan. It's like a record Kazakhstan transfer. Yeah, I mean, this is seemingly where our priorities lie right now. It's obvious, isn't it? This is where our priorities lie. Sign this kid. He comes in 2 years when he turns 18. Maybe he sticks about till he's 20. We sell him for a profit. This is what we do. This is who we are, guys. And when the sole basis of your footballing decisions are not based on how much players improve you on the pitch, it's based on how much they can help improve your balance sheets. That's when you're gonna. That's why we're gonna struggle to build a top squad. That's why we're going to struggle to build a top squad because of shit like this. Because of shit like this. Yeah, great. We signed a striker, 16-year-old striker. Where was the striker for the first team, guys? Where was the striker for the first team? Somebody tell me. Where was the striker for the first team? So you can sign. You can sign 16-year-olds strikers for the future, but you can't sign a striker for the first team. Priorities, priorities, priorities. Bro, if you think a protest is going to get them out, it's not happening. It's not. I'm not against, people trying, like fans coming together and trying something, but if people genuinely think a protest is going to force an ownership to sell up, they're very much mistaken. Very much mistaken. And yes, the fan base needs to all be pulling in the same direction. And yes, what is happening at the football club now is unacceptable. And yes, we are seemingly going down a worrying path. And obviously, there's a mediocre mentality seeping through this club from top to bottom. And it's hard to recognize what we are right now. It's hard to see all semblances of winning culture just being eroded from this football club. And we need to get back to where we deserve to be and where we should be. And things need to change. Things need to change. And that starts with the directors going as a first port of call. And it also starts with Chelsea becoming a club that actually takes accountability for things. Actually takes accountability. Because right now, we're becoming a club where no one takes any accountability. People are happy to come out and pat themselves on the back when things are going well. As soon as things go to shit, everyone just retreats into the shadows and they're nowhere to be seen. Absolutely nowhere to be seen. Things won't change with the ownership. They won't. They won't. Things won't change with the ownership, guys. If Bowley was able to buy out Egbari's share and become the majority shareholder, I think things would change. I think we saw from Bowley's transfer window that he would be prepared to target different types of player, more experience, as we saw from that window in 2022, and blend it with young talent. But again, that looks like it could be difficult for Bowley to get the money together to buy out Egbari and Clearlake. The problems here are Egbari and Clearlake. That's the issue here. Egbari, Clearlake, and the sporting directors. Todd Bowley's the only one that's got any experience of being a part owner of any sports franchises. Because right now, Chelsea's being run like a private equity firm. Bowley's the only one that's put his own money into the club. He's the only one that's put his own money into the club. Egbari will be under pressure from investors to get a return on their investment and a return on their money. You know, it's mad, isn't it? It's mental. Look, the Vivid Seats thing. What's mad about this, right, is that this is well-known information. Chelsea had a partnership with Vivid Seats in pre-season, an official partnership between Chelsea and Vivid Seats in pre-season. No one said anything about Vivid Seats then. What is happening there is not just a Chelsea issue. It is a Premier League wide issue. It shouldn't be happening. Fans are being exploited. There are less tickets for fans to buy and more tickets going on sale for, well, I don't want to say richer people, but people that, they know will pay a lot of money for them. It is a massive, massive conflict of interests for Bowley to be a co-owner of a website that is an unauthorized reseller of Premier League tickets and is selling them for an extortionate amount of price, extortionate amount. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. But Bowley, in my opinion, is the least of the problems at Chelsea Football Club. The least of the problems. We do waste money. We have wasted a lot of money. These guys aren't afraid to spend money, but we have spent a lot of this money very, very badly. Very, very badly. We spent a lot of this money horrendously. And that has to change. That has to change. You've got to make better use of the money. You have to. No, bro, they're not going anywhere. These men could get us relegated and they'd go nowhere. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. And I honestly believe that if Bowley was in charge, then you would see more experience come in, and you wouldn't see a complete deviation from the model, but you would see some experience being put in alongside some young talent, and you blend it that way. Why these guys thought they could come in and be the exception to the rule? No one wins. No one's won anything building a squad the way that we've had, with no experience and just pure youngsters. No one's done that. No one has done that. So why do these guys feel they can come in, no experience in football, no experience in sport other than Bowley, and think that they can be successful doing something that no one's ever been successful with doing in football? It's baffling. Absolutely baffling. Look, everyone's I've got no problem with people wanting to make money on an investment. A football club, whether fans like it or not, is a business. It is a business, and they want to make money. I've got no issue with that. But when finances are coming at the expense of football and footballing decisions, that's where I do take an issue with it. And that's where things need to change, because all the decisions that we're making in terms of signing players seem to be financially driven rather than how are these going to make us better on the football pitch. That's a secondary thought. And that's really worrying. Really, really worrying. That is really, really worrying. No, because Roman wiped. I think there was a commitment that they had to spend that much on the stadium, or something along those lines. I can't remember. I can't remember the exact stipulations. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I don't think anything happens. This is not about a national. This is not a nationality thing for me. These guys could be French, Japanese, Spanish, or whatever. If they were doing what's going on now, it would be an issue. It's not an issue because they're American. I get it that, people are worried because there's now 13, 14 Premier League American owners in the Premier League, that the Premier League's going to try and become Americanized. And I understand those thoughts, but for me personally, wherever these guys are from, what's happening now is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Yeah, I would be a bit concerned for Maresca as well, whether he's going to be around or not next season. That shouldn't even be a conversation point. That it shouldn't even be a thought. He should absolutely be here next season. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know. I don't know if he will be here. I don't know if he will be here next season. I've got absolutely no idea. Part of me sort of feels like if they don't get in the Champions League, and that was part of the reason why Poch left, then Maresca, by their own standards, shouldn't stay. But we can't afford to go for another manager and change again. Also, if Maresca goes, the directors must go as well, because that'll be the second manager that these directors are appointed, and the second manager that they failed with. There's a common theme here, guys. It's one of those for me where you get rid of no one or you get rid of them all. Because getting rid of the manager does nothing. If you're going to get rid of the manager, you have to get rid of the directors as well. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. And if new directors come in and decide they want a different manager, then I would roll with that. I would roll with that if that was the case. But that's not the case. That's not the case, guys. So, again, I'm already seeing Chelsea fans saying that the manager should go. It's nonsense. It is complete and utter nonsense. Have we not learned anything at all? Have we not learned anything here, guys? Seriously, have we learned nothing here? Directors, potentially. Owners, no. Not anytime soon anyway. Absolutely not. The directors are the most realistic ones you would probably get out. But even then, that's going to be very, very difficult. Very, very difficult, guys. Because they seem to be untouchable. They seem to be untouchable. It's mad. It is mad. I don't get it. When Stanley and Stewart out, send those. Well, I don't care where they go. Just make sure they're not here. Make sure they're not at Chelsea Football Club, guys. Make sure they're not at Chelsea Football Club. Simple as that. It really is that simple. Yeah, of course. It was very, very disappointing. Very disappointing, guys. But I mean, how are we feeling about the Brighton? I know it's only Tuesday, but guys in the chat, let me know how are you feeling about the Brighton game? How are you feeling about it? I would be very interested to know what your thoughts are. Do you know what's really shit as well? Is how close we were to signing Josko Vardiol. Remember, we were close. Remember how close we were. I'm pretty sure we had a fee agreed. We had a fee agreed. And when you see Vardiol doing what he's doing, what could have been? What could have been? We were close to getting him, and that hurts. But yeah, no, I would agree. I'm not confident for Friday's game. Not at all. No, look, I don't know whether they care about the fans or not. It certainly doesn't come across that way. It certainly doesn't come across that way. But I think, look, I think you can maybe apply it to Egg Barley, but I think with I think Bowley generally does. But you know the way. But again, actions speak louder than words. They can say they care, but their actions probably very much show otherwise, guys. They very much show otherwise. So it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. But then when you watch teams in there's no like yeah, we did miss out on Vardiol. We did. It's bad. Well, it's the scouts that identify the talent. It's the scouts that identify the talent. But yeah, look, by the way, 2 sporting directors as well. That is a nonsense, an absolute nonsense. We must be the only club that has 2 sporting directors because it takes away all accountability and responsibility. There should be 1 top-class sporting director in post. Why have we got 2 mediocre ones? Well, I say mediocre. Why have we got 2 dogshit directors? There should just be 1 there. Then there's sole accountability. Sole accountability. Sole accountability. But maybe not. We've seen an elite sporting director. Sancho, yeah, has been looking flat lately. We need to try something different. I agree, Sean. Something different needs to be tried. Something different has to be tried. Yes, big up, Joao. The myth that people have with these owners is that they didn't spend so much money on a club like Chelsea, labelled as failures for 10 years because nobody... yeah, look, at the end of the day, right, they want a return on their investment, you know? Billionaires have got big egos. They don't want an investment they make to be a failure. They don't. And look, who knows? Chelsea, this could be a success some way down the line. This could be a success. But right now, it appears everything's so orientated on the long term, there's literally seemingly zero plan for the here and now. Where is my plan for the here and now? Because I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing a plan for the here and now. All I'm seeing is, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we're going to have this great team, 100-point team, this, that, and all this bollocks. Where is my plan for now? And where is my plan to get this team to succeed now and in the immediate short term? Where's that plan? Because I'll tell you what, there doesn't seem to be one. There doesn't seem to be one. I mean, Luis Campos would be good, but again, he seems pretty settled at PSG, pretty happy there. I think it's because basically the advice that he was being given wasn't being listened to. He felt like he wasn't being listened to, so he left. And that's the reality. He left because he wasn't being listened to. And that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, why would anyone want to work with Winstanley and Stewart? I'd be leaving. I would 100% be leaving if that was me. 100% be leaving if that was me. You know, 100%. Thing is, though, Bowley's not in charge of those decisions. Bowley is not involved in the day-to-day running of the football club. Hasn't been for a good couple of years nearly. You know, he hasn't been involved. Well, Vivell's not going to come back in the current setup. Vivell's not coming back in the current setup, guys. Absolutely no chance. Absolutely no chance of that happening. So yeah, that's not going to happen. But that is what we should be looking at, guys. That is what we should be looking to do. You know, and I don't know if we will. In the Brighton game, they put 3 forwards and we only put in Kunku as a striker. Not good enough. I'm not saying we win that game just because Lavia plays, by the way, because we had 1 shot on target. You know, Lavia playing doesn't make us win that game, doesn't make us a better team. Sure, absolutely. But Lavia doesn't help us have more than 1 shot on target. But yeah, the fact that Brighton had 3 players that would all start for us in Joao Pedro, Jorginho Ruta, and Danny Welbeck, that sums up our squad building, and that sums up where we are as a club right now. With the greatest of respects to Brighton, they should not have 3 strikers in their squad that all start for us, but somehow they do, and that's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. And that's where people say, oh, you know, you spent all this money, how can you be moaning for more players? Look at the way the squad's been put together. Look at the lack of balance. Yes, Maresca needs to find a way of getting more out of these players because he was getting more out of them at the start of the season. Why is he now not getting more out of them at this point of the season? What's happened? Why has there been a collective drop-off from everyone? Why does everyone look like they've never played together before? These are questions that we need to find. Well, no one said that we're signing him. Look, at the end of the day, the fans have got to get behind the team. They have to. Having a toxic environment in the stands is not conducive to getting good results on the football pitch. It's not. It's frustrating. It's difficult right now. We're not doing well. But the fans have got to get behind the team and support the team. That's how the situation can be helped from a fan's perspective. And if you are wanting to try and get the attention of the club or implement some sort of change, then something needs to be properly organised. I appreciate it's difficult, but when you're getting protests where like between 5 and 10 people are turning up, that's not going to send you the message that people are wanting. You need to get everyone on board, everyone pulling in the same direction. You need to get the fan advisory board involved. You need to get the supporters trust involved. If you're going to do something, it needs to be done properly so it has the desired impact. I'm not shitting on people who have tried to get things to happen and only a few people have turned up. But having something where 5 or 10 people turning up is not going to have the desired outcome you're looking for. So if we're going to do this, it needs to be done properly with the relevant authorities heavily involved and everyone pulling in the same direction, and it advertised in a way where you're going to get a lot of people turning up so that actually sends a powerful message. Those are the things that we can do right now. But in terms of on the pitch, we absolutely have to support the team and get behind the team. But that's it. Simple as that. Simple as that, guys. But yeah, there we go. I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. It depends what's going on behind the scenes. It depends what's happening behind the scenes. We don't really know what is going on behind the scenes. But let's see. But yeah, guys, I'm going to round this one out here. Big up to everyone that's tuned in. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Appreciate Champions League's on tonight. Numbers not the best, but appreciate everyone who is here. Please smash the like button on the way out, guys. Subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you're new around here. If you've enjoyed what I've had to say, if you're not subscribed to my channel, then I will put the link in the chat now. And if you want to subscribe, please do. It would be greatly appreciated. Link is in the chat now for anyone who is not subscribed to my personal channel and wishes to do so. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will be back again tomorrow with more content on the channel. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Up the Chelsea, and we're out. Peace.